Welcome to the Fishbowl Radio, everybody. My name is Chief here, and with me, as always, is Mike Honcho and Juicy. But Mike Honcho is going to call in later on the show. He's working on some stuff right now, so I'd like to welcome y'all to the show. To my great friend, Juicy. How are you doing today, Juicy?
I'm all right, buddy. How's everybody else doing? How are you doing, too?
I'm doing pretty well. We got a great week of college football. This week, lot of marquee matchups this week. We've got LSU versus Alabama. You know, you talked all week long about that. Clemson versus Oklahoma State. Oh, wait, Clemson versus... my bad.
TCU?
Yeah, TCU and Oklahoma State. I was looking at the wrong thing there. Clemson versus Florida State. Excuse me on that error there. But, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting episode this week. But before we actually kick this thing off, I would like to say that I have a very good band I would like some of my listeners to listen to. It's Ashton Dupre and the Last Call, and they're playing this Saturday at Red Dogs in Eagan, Louisiana. So if you're in that area, you'll go check them out. You can find them on Facebook, Ashton Dupre and the Last Call. Go like it up and go listen to some of their music. They post videos on there, so... they're a good band to listen to, so I highly recommend it. Now, back on what we got going on this week here in college football, it's going to be a very good week. Like I said, a lot of high marquee matchups this week in college football. Juicy, what is your matchup you're looking the most forward to out of the ones I just said this week?
Oh, you know me, I'm going to have to be looking forward to that LSU-Alabama matchup. I don't see how there's any other matchup possibly with more playoff implications than that game right there.
Well,
College game day is going to be there. It's going to be a very loud environment.
Well, I would disagree with that, Juicy. I think TCU and Oklahoma State's matchup just got as much implication if I ever did see one. But
I don't know, because I don't think Oklahoma State's really got a shot at the playoff here.
Yeah, we said this already before. This matchup, Oklahoma State, we know LSU Alabama. This is a game that's going to knock someone out of the playoff, I think. And, you know, Ole Miss could wreak havoc in this whole entire thing, too, for the SEC. Because if they've beaten Alabama already, let's say if LSU beats Alabama, or Alabama beats LSU, perhaps, Alabama moves on, LSU goes further along, and Ole Miss beats LSU, okay, then we got like a 2-loss, and then they go to the SEC championship game. Ole Miss wins that game. Now all of a sudden we got a 2-loss SEC champion, and we got a 1-loss Alabama team. So, and you know, that's even talking about Florida too. We haven't even talked about Florida.
Florida.
So, I mean, that's...
all Florida's going to do is win Saturday and they can clinch the
Yes, that has been discussed. Florida wins.
And they play in Vanderbilt, so I don't see that much of a problem.
Well, we'll see what happens. Upsets do happen. This is why we play the games instead of just us talking about them on here. So I'll tell you what, it's going to be a very interesting week, like I've stated previously in this episode. But yeah, I think Clemson's in a very good spot. I think if they can get through here, I think they'll be in pretty good shape in regards to the playoff situation. Standing with, well, Ohio State, I think they got Michigan down the road and all those teams. So it's going to be good to see what happens in this.
Yeah, they got Minnesota this week, so.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those games going along here. So, yeah. Let's see what happens here. Well,
it'll be an exciting week.
It will be an exciting week, without a doubt. So, Juicy, how would you like to, shall we say, start this thing up? Let's get it cranked up and running.
I'd say let's rock and roll with it.
That's what I like to hear. Now, we've had some games already played this week. We've had Northern Illinois pull an upset over Toledo, 32-27. Were you shocked by that, Juicy?
That.
Are you shocked by that?
I never even heard about that one. Yeah, I'm pretty shocked by it, actually. I really thought Toledo... I really thought Toledo was well on their way to being undefeated, but once again, the cruel fate of college football has its ways of pulling its upsets at any certain time.
Yes, it does.
Guaranteed, I guess, because I really thought Toledo was going to go undefeated. It
happens. It happens to the best of teams like we have seen before this season already, so it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen here. I think it's going to be a huge matchup for them. Baylor also won their game by a close margin, 31-24 over Kansas State. Are you shocked by that score, even though Baylor did play a true freshman? You think he'll be able to develop into a good quarterback, Juicy?
Well, I thought Jared Stidham played real well in the game. He passed for over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. However, them 14 points that Kansas State scored that was unanswered, they had a 31-10 lead in the fourth quarter. That was kind of some garbage yards Kansas State had. But Jared Stidham's going to get better. I mean, he played real well already, but I think he's going to get better as the season goes along.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he's a pretty good quarterback. He went 23 for 33, like you said, for 419 yards and 3 touchdowns. So Jared Stidham has done a very good job in that game. And like you said, Kansas State kind of came on late, but it was a little bit closer than I would liked. But Baylor is ranked number 6 in the college football playoff. You're surprised they didn't get in the top 4?
You what?
Are you surprised they didn't get in the top 4 in the playoff?
Actually, well, I was kind of shocked they weren't ranked at least number 4 because, yeah, Alabama may have had a tough schedule, and they are in the SEC, but they do have one loss. However, I still think Baylor still should have been there because they are undefeated, so I think undefeated should come before any team with one loss.
Okay, so judging that by that opinion you got there, would you put Memphis in there?
We'll put who in there?
Memphis.
No, because Memphis started.
They beat Ole Miss though.
Not even ranked, so.
Memphis is ranked.
And they're not. No, they started off the season not ranked. So.
Well, that doesn't mean anything though. I mean, we had Auburn ranked number 6. How did that turn out?
Yeah, you're right about that. But
I don't care about preseason rankings at all.
Power 5 conferences.
Well, I'm thinking. Okay, look, we had Boise State a couple of years ago come in. If a team can legitimately compete with another team, I have no idea with no problem with them putting in the college football playoff. That's my opinion on it. Since you're in a Power 5 conference, Ole Miss, they lost to Memphis. They got straight out beat by Memphis. In return, Ole Miss beat Alabama. So
what does it make you think Memphis might be able to beat Alabama?
Well, they beat Ole Miss and Ole Miss beat Alabama. So what else you think they could be? You can make that argument for Clemson. Memphis all day long.
Well, in that case, then if you talk about that, then it's looking good for LSU this weekend because Florida smashed Ole Miss beat Alabama, and then LSU beat Florida. So. Well,
Alabama's somewhat of a different team than when they played Ole Miss too. They've been playing better, except for the Tennessee game, which we'll discuss that. We'll talk about Alabama later on because I think they've been blowing up a lot this week. Of course, they deserve the credit, but I think they get too much of it at times. Well, Mississippi State did knock off Missouri. They were number 20 this week, 31-13 win over Missouri. Dak Prescott had a pretty good game, 303 yards passing, and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, that game kind of went how I expected it to go.
Yeah, I was expecting that one too. Now, let's actually make some picks here, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. First game on the list, Cincinnati goes on the road to take on number 25, Houston. Who you got, Juicy?
Give me Houston in this game. I know Houston's undefeated, and next week, however, before I go on to say about next week, I think this could be a trap game for Cincinnati. I mean, not for Cincinnati, for Houston, because next week they have to play undefeated Memphis.
Yes.
In their conference, so
that will be a very good game.
They better not look too far ahead of themselves, because Cincinnati, if they have the right mindset, they shouldn't have too much of a problem with Cincinnati. But it could be a trap game for Houston. That's all I'm going to say. But give me Houston in this game.
I think Houston will win this game. Greg Ward Jr. has been very good for Houston this year. Almost 2,000 yards passing so far for him this year, which is pretty good numbers for a quarterback. I mean, you kind of expected. 11 touchdown passes. DeMarcus Ayers has been pretty good for him, too. And Kenneth Farrow has been good running back for Houston, 128 carries for 751 yards and 9 touchdowns. So, I mean, hey, Houston's been able to put up some points this year. And, you know, I think this is somewhat of a trap game like you did say about Cincinnati. I do believe Houston will win this game over Cincinnati. I'll say about a 14-point, 17-point win for them in this game, and they're playing at home. So, yeah, it's looking pretty good for Houston this week to pick up the win. And, you know, with Memphis on the horizon there, it's going to be kind of interesting to see how this coach plays it off. You have to be focused and ready to play every single week, or you could find yourself having a loss and you wondering how that happened at all. So, we'll see exactly how that happens. So, yeah, it's gonna be a good game if you're going there. If you're in the Houston area, I suggest you go to the game. Always a good time in Houston. All right.
Oh yeah.
Number 23, UCLA goes on the road to take on Oregon State. Who you got, Juicy?
Give me the Bruins in this game. I think that with that Oregon State, I don't see Oregon State being too much of a problem. They haven't really posed any problems for anybody for much of their conference this year. I don't expect that to change. And UCLA, they have struggled at times, but I don't see them struggling against Oregon State. I think they find their groove this week and beat them probably about 17, 21 points.
I believe that UCLA will win this game here. Oregon State, they've been kind of on the downward spiral, if I ever did. They haven't won a game in the Pac-12 this year, let me put it like that.
Yeah.
So, Josh Rosen, who I think is going to have a pretty good game here. He's got over 2,000 yards passing so far this year and 16 touchdowns. Paul Perkins has been carrying it pretty good for the Bruins so far this year. Give me UCLA in this one. I don't think Oregon State, they've only won 2 games this year. I don't see them winning this one. But, like I said, we do play the game, so. But I don't think this will be an upset, though, either. I don't think we'll see that happen this week at all. All right. I say about 21, 24 points.
Fair margin.
Yeah. Penn State versus number 21 Northwestern. Juicy, who you got?
Wait, who's the other team you said? Northwestern who?
Penn State.
Penn State? Oh my, well, I've thought hard about this one. I started to think about going with the upset pick here and go with Penn State. You know what? Go ahead, mark it down. I'm gonna go with the upset. Give me Penn State. I have a good feeling about Penn State on this one because when I thought about it, I thought about the Iowa game, how Iowa completely blanked Northwestern 38-0. So give me Penn State in this game. I actually think they're gonna pull it off by 3 points. I'm gonna go with the upset on this one.
I hate you right now, Juicy.
Why so?
I was gonna pick them as my upset pick this week. I got Penn State beat Northwestern. I think 3 points is a good margin, but since you took my number that I wanted to do for this game, I guess I'll go a touchdown over Northwestern. touchdown or 10 points. Penn State's going to have a pretty good this year. Their only loss in the Big Ten was to Ohio State. So, I mean, this is going to be a pretty good game, though. They go